I mean, I waited for quite some time to have this statue, and then we're going to get this? Welcome everyone from What's on the Table. This is Prof G and you're watching another episode of Graded, the show where we're not just going to unbox or review a particular statue, collectible, or figure. We are actually going to give it a grade at the end of each video. So for this episode, we are going to grade the 1/3 scale Prestige Series Batman Blue variant by Legendary Beast Studios. Ladies and gents, we've finally made it. The Batman Prestige Series by Legendary Beast Studios is finally here. Now, you've probably seen some collectors online posting their LBS Batman, and so far so good. I mean, a lot of them are saying that they absolutely love it, but mostly they've been posting their black and gray version. Now, I've said this before. I ordered the blue and gray version, and it's one of those things where no matter what you pick, you will probably second guess yourself and ask if you picked the right one, if that actually makes sense. Like me, for instance, once I pre-ordered the blue version, I right away said that, hold on. How am I gonna do the other looks available like the Fabric look, the Jim Lee, and Alex Ross if I am gonna do only blue and gray? Now, I've seen other collectors that said the blue and gray looks awesome. I'm not sure if I made the right decision. Let's talk about that more later on and see if I actually made the right call. As you can see right in front of you, you have the box of the 1/3 scale Legendary Beast Studios Prestige Series Batman Blue variant. And if you ordered this and are waiting for it, I'll tell you right now, this is a massive and heavy box, and my lazy Susan is actually having a hard time rotating this because, this is really heavy. And if you've already unboxed this yourself, you know what I'm talking about. Lifting this up and opening this was a bit of a struggle. But I'm not complaining, at least they were able to cram it all in one box, am I right? Minimalist, very straightforward, you just see the classic Batman logo over there and that's about it. As you open it up, you are going to be greeted with 3 levels of styro. But before that, they did give us a collector's guide manual which contains some cool photos of the Prestige Series Batman and all the parts included in the package. Styro level number 1, you are going to see a lot of the small parts over here. Starting off, you are going to see a lot of attachments for the base, and these are the stalagmites mimicking the look of a bat cave. A chest emblem, and this one with its gold trim at the border, it looks like it's the Rebirth bat emblem. Not sure yet if I'm going to be using that as I got the blue and gray Batman version. You have the head of Man-Bat, which will be placed at the center of the base. The unmasked head sculpt, you see here Bruce Wayne looking to the side. So if you want to post the unmasked version, there is an arm and hand switch out that's dedicated for that. The first masked head sculpt we are gonna see is Batman with shorter ears, and depending how you see it, it could pass as a Jim Lee or Jason Fabric look depending on which combination of switch outs you will use later on. And then you got a bunch of bats which is well painted, I must say. Good shadings of different tones of browns and blacks, so I kinda like that it doesn't look generic. And then you have the upper body of Batman right here. Holding it that time, I could really feel the different texture of the different parts of the body. Some are smooth and some are heavily textured and rough, so yeah, kinda dig that. Oh, and by the way, I repeat, do not forget about this screw right here. You are gonna need that to put the cape in place later on. Moving on to styro level number 2, you are gonna see the big pieces over here. You got the lower part of the storytelling base. Not gonna take that out yet as it's kinda heavy. You have the big blue cape, which I think is well sculpted and nicely painted. You have the lower body of Batman over here. Nice shading on the boots and the suit. We are gonna talk more about that later on. And then we have here the classic emblem of Batman, which is the black and yellow bat symbol. Now with the look that I'm going for, this is the bat emblem that I am going to use. Another bat emblem, which is something you can use if you're going for the Jason Fabric Batman look or the Alex Ross Batman look. And now styro level number 3, you are gonna see there 2 base plates. One is the plain base plate and the other one is the base plate with stalagmites. Now here we are gonna see 3 variations of the Batman's utility belt. This one is the capsule utility belt, which kind of reminds me of the Neal Adams Batman look, which actually is what I'm going for. The second utility belt is the one with the square-ish pouch, which is typically what you see in the Alex Ross look. And lastly, we have another one of his utility belt with smaller pouches, which I think is something similar if you've seen the works of Jim Lee and some works of Jason Fabok. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Those are the three utility belts that you are going to get. You have another lonely piece of stalagmite formation over here, a lonely bat, the left hand switch out holding the grapple gun, and gonna check this one, seems to be in good condition, no breakage there. Another left hand switch out holding the cowl, which I think is a cool addition, but something I don't think I will use even if I put on the unmasked portrait. Another left hand where it's just a regular fist, and now here we have the Alex Ross inspired portrait. Kinda weird seeing that in color blue as I'm not used to it. Another masked head sculpt, this time Batman with shorter ears. Yeah, kind of a modern look with the short ears and the facial structure. Maybe this will look good when we use the Rebirth chest emblem. Let's try that on later. And then last but not the least, this one is kind of special. JC of LBS repainted this for me before it was shipped, as I've expressed that I really like the Neal Adams look of Batman, which is the sole reason why I ordered the blue and gray version. And I will reveal this later on. That's it guys, those are all the portraits. I mean, I waited for quite some time to have this statue, and then we're going to get this. 5 head sculpts, 3 utility belts, 3 chest emblems, 3 arm and hand switch outs, 2 base plates that completely changes the look and feel of the statue. That's friggin' generous, man. Anyway, let's do the assembly of this 1/3 scale Prestige Series Batman Blue variant by Legendary Beast Studios. My collector friends, this is the 1/3 scale Prestige Series Batman Blue variant by Legendary Beast Studios. Ladies and gents, look at that. This is the combination that I am going for with the surprise head sculpt custom repaint of JC from LBS. This is my money shot right here. I went for the Neal Adams look of Batman. Because I think if you're gonna go with the blue and gray Batman and you have this custom repainted head sculpt over here, in my opinion, that is the only correct way to go. Go for the Neal Adams look. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember any company doing a blue and gray Batman version with the intention of pulling off the Neal Adams design. Was there? I'm not sure. Now, I know the blue and gray Batman is not the popular Batman colorway, and I think LBS knew that. That's why the ES of the blue and gray was only $99 and the ES of the black and gray was $199. And I've seen it also in the comments while people were picking which color to go for, they said it's Batman. It has to be black and gray. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be just black and gray, but it is the common colorway if you base it on the movies and majority of the comic book designs. So yeah, not really gonna go into the debate of which colorway is better or correct, but Batman has evolved throughout the years and for some reason I still gravitate towards the Neal Adams look. And I will explain to you why in just a bit. Let's go over the statue from bottom to the top, shall we? First, the base. The base of this Batman has got to be the most intricate base design I have ever seen in any of my statues. Yes, I own Primon statues, I own a lot of sideshows, some Twitter heads, and a lot of XM Studios, but this has got to be the most packed base design so far. Now, if you are gonna compare it to the Superman base, which is mostly carved in 2D, on this one, Legendary Beast Studios really made an effort to have those Batman villains be an attraction. Front and center, you have Man-Bat, followed by Joker, Scarecrow, Riddler, Ra's al Ghul. Then you have the Bat family over there at the back. You see Alfred, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl. Continuing the rogues, you have Two-Face, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, and Bane. Now level with me just a little bit here. I want you all to look at the faces of the villains. Those are incredibly sculpted and I really love the likeness of the face sculpt. Now this is not an exaggeration, but if you look at it per character, let's say Two-Face, Ra's al Ghul, Riddler, Joker, and even Mr. Freeze, the sculpt is really good and it's borderline wanting me to ask to use these faces and turn it into its own statue. Just look at it again. It ain't half bad and I'm not kidding. If LBS has plans to have villains in the future, and this is like a preview of what we could possibly get, I'd be interested. Now of course it's kinda rough, but I heard they were gonna do villains in the future, but you know, this is just wishful thinking. Now some people might be wondering how come it's only dudes who are included here as villains. Now I think I've heard that question from an interview with the Batman statue collector. JC has said that he didn't want to include the females like Poison Ivy, Catwoman, or even Harley Quinn, as these three women, who represent the Gotham City Sirens, aren't always playing the villain in every story. That makes sense. Moving up, you are gonna see this base plate where it has the stalagmite and bat attachments. I mean, since we got the premiere edition, we might as well use this base plate first as an example. First and foremost, look at the face of the base plate. The paint actually looks pretty cool, kind of mimicking the metal elements that you would see present in the Batcave or something, and that bat emblem at the middle with some scratches at the corners. It's actually really a nice touch. Now, if I didn't know any better, it really looks like it was made out of metal, so good job on their paint department on that. Now, while I do like the addition of bats and stalagmites on the base, it will kinda have a disconnect if you are intending on completing the Justice League line of Legendary Beast Studios, because majority of the bases they did was clean and doesn't have much background detail. Now, having said that, I kinda understand why the stalagmite base was included, and I may be wrong, but bear with me. I might have a point. If you are going to display this as a standalone piece, let's say you are a 1/3 scale Batman collector or something, then yeah, use the stalagmites, because without it, it might look a little plain. Or if you have the intention of partnering this Batman with the Joker statue by LBS, which also has that ha 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 background, use the stalagmites and the bats. But if you are gonna display this alongside the other Justice League members of LBS, then this might stand out too much and not blend in. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's just the way my brain is wired. If the others have a clean base with minimal obstruction, I want it to be consistent. So that's just my recommendation. The use of stalagmites and bats is a personal preference and it's gonna depend on how you are going to display it. Now, if you choose not to use the base plate with stalagmites, just remove the base plate, slap on the clean one, and you will have a clean base look. Kinda like this. No obstruction, just Batman. And to be honest, I don't know. This actually looks good too. It looks clean. When I watch Art Statue Collector, he actually prefers the clean version without the stalagmites. Again, it all boils down to preference. If you are gonna display it with the two other members of the Trinity of the Justice League, it will look something like this. See? Looks clean. Looks consistent, right? And also, you gotta love the fact that the base is not so wide that it will take up too much real estate on your display shelf. So yeah, what do you guys think? If you are gonna display this, are you gonna use the base with stalagmites and the bats, or the clean version? Let me know in the comments. Next, the body. Alright, we spent a lot of time talking about the base. Let's talk about the body. First and foremost, yes, again, I chose the blue and gray version because I wanted the classic look of Batman. I just have too many black and gray or all black Batmans in my collection. I just want something different and a colorway of Batman that will actually pop. Plus, I mentioned this a while ago, I want to have the Neal Adams inspired Batman look. Now, if you're not familiar, These are some of his works, and even though he started creating sketches for Batman in the 60s, he is still considered to be one of the most popular Batman artists of all time. I repeat, of all time. He was also known to be the artist that exaggerated a lot of the movement and features of Batman in the comics, like lighting, the overly long cape, the long ears, the shading, and all that. That explains the black on the front face of the cowl. Most Neal Adams sketches has the black shading on the front cowl, but it was in the comics. It was supposedly aimed at how light and shadow react to the suit. But still, I want it immortalized. I want the shadow there no matter what. So that's the look that I was going for. But let's dissect the body even more. I want to highlight the texture of the Batman suit. You know, when sometimes you have a statue and they cannot capture the texture of an actual fabric and just make it smooth? That's why a lot of companies try to use mixed media. But most of us collectors don't like mixed media. But for the texture of this suit, at least for the area where it is color gray, I think this is really well made. Kinda reminds me of the texture of the Batman Gotham by Gaslight of Sideshow, where it's not shiny, it ain't smooth, but this one has even more texture. It's rough, and you are right away gonna see that contrast. Now, it's not repetitive and flat either. You are gonna see some folds over there, some shading for the contours, and even some subtle battle damage on the suit. You gotta love it. Now, if we're gonna talk about the blues, well, this is the interesting part. I love how they painted the blue on this one because I feel like this was painted with Neal Adams in mind. Because they didn't really just paint it flat blue with darker blue shading. They painted it with blue and black. Look at the boots, it's black and blue. Even the trunks area, the blue is at the middle, giving you a more exaggerated illusion on how light hits it. The gloves are also black and blue with a whole lot of texture, and of course, the cape. Now for me, even if you prefer the black and gray Batman, I think the shadings and paint details are much more noticeable with the blue and gray. Even on the cape, man, look at that cape. I think the form of the cape is one of its selling points. The shape, the length of it, and how it's blown to one side while the other end is kind of wrapping around his leg. This could have been an engineering nightmare, by the way, and glad they were able to pull it off. Good texture, good color shading. Overall, I'm happy with that. For the emblems, you do have three options. You have the Black Bat emblem, which can be used for your Jim Lee look, Fabok look, and Alex Ross. The Rebirth Bat emblem with the gold trim, which actually looks nice as well. And the classic black and yellow chest emblem of Batman, which is what I am going for. All magnets work on my end, fits perfectly well. I'm kind of checking if the fit is perfect, but so far so good. Now, I don't see any noticeable gaps, which is what I was originally afraid of, but yeah, so far so good on the emblems. The utility belts, now I was excited about this because of how they painted it. It's really different from the black and gray version. It's the classic vibrant yellow. Although realistically, the vibrant yellow will really suit the blue and gray version. And while I'm not sure if I'm gonna be using the other variations of these belts, as I'm kind of digging only one look right now, I still think it's a good addition. Who knows? I might do a different combination for this one in the future. I'm sure I will, but for now, I'm gonna stick with this one. The hand switch out, like I said a while ago, no matter what head sculpt I'm gonna use, I will stick to the hand that holds the grapple gun. And that's about it. Let me know if I missed anything, guys, but in general, I think Batman's body looks good. Not too lean, not too bulky like a Frank Miller Batman, just well balanced. Lastly, let's talk about the head sculpt. But before we do, I gotta emphasize something on the assembly of the cape. The package comes with a screw, and it's gonna be used to hold the cape in place. And with the head switch outs having a magnet, it is important to have these fastened properly all the way down to minimize the gaps. We did get 5 different head sculpts, and let's look at it one by one. You have the unmasked portrait, good looking Bruce Wayne, nice texture, nice skin tone also. Now let's talk about the skin tone a little bit, because this is really a highlight for me. I feel like there's already a huge improvement between the skin tone from the Superman version to this Batman release. Now, I feel like LBS is constantly improving, and so far out of all the LBS statues that I have, the skin tone that they use on this Batman looks better than the rest. The skin texture and the stubbles are there too. You have the Alex Ross inspired head sculpt, and I think if you are an Alex Ross fan, you are gonna love this one. A lot of people actually like the white eyes, but I saw some people online doing some custom paint on the eyes with this one right here, which actually looks really good as well. Hats off to you, sir. To achieve this, use the black chest emblem and then use the old school square-ish utility belt. And there you have it, you have the Alex Ross inspired look. And then you have this serious gritty look of Batman, which reminds me of the Fabric Batman look. I remember Art did a side-by-side of this one with the Detective 1000 of Prime 1. Both look amazing. To achieve that, use this head sculpt right here, use the black chest emblem, and then utility belt with the small pouches. And there you go. And then next, you have a much more modern Batman look. Shorter ears, very serious looking down. You can actually use this as a Jim Lee Batman look or use this to partner with the Rebirth chest emblem. Snap on the capsule utility belt and there you go, Rebirth. And then of course, the custom painted Neal Adams inspired head sculpt, which is how it is gonna stay for now. Use the custom painted head sculpt, use the yellow and black bat emblem, the capsule utility belt, and that's it. You got your Neal Adams look, baby. Thanks, Jay. All in all, I love what LBS did here. I think if you pre-ordered it, regardless if you got the black and gray or this blue and gray version with the price point and the low ES, I think you're gonna be happy with it. Even if it's just a standalone Batman piece or you want to line it up with the Justice League of LBS, I think you're gonna be pleased with it. But one thing I'm gonna say is this. From the time they released Superman, which was just a couple of months ago, to today when I received this Batman, I've seen a lot of improvements, especially on the paint applications and skin tone. Not gonna sugarcoat it. Take it as you will. I really think that there is a massive improvement. Having said that, for this 1/3 scale Batman Blue variant by Legendary Beast Studios, with its design, the museum pose, which I love, the build, the paint job, the accessories, the multiple display options, and the price that I got it for, I am going to give it a grade of 8.9. I love that we are given a lot of options. I feel like it's just the right amount of switch outs, and you can achieve different looks with this one. So there is an ideal Batman look here for a lot of people. Thanks guys for watching another episode of Graded. If you like this video, please give me a solid by subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell, or just giving me a shout at the comment section below. If you own this 1/3 scale Batman by Legendary Beast Studios and would give a different grade, please let me know also in the comment section below. Thanks again guys, this is Prof G and you just watched another episode of Graded. See you all on the next one.